Hello, YouTube. What's different about me, unlike other people? There's a lot of people out there who have things they pursue. What's special about me is conviction. I have conviction about making structural changes to protect people who are vulnerable by providing new solutions for housing, ideas for social welfare reform, things like minimum income, and ensuring that every person, regardless of their economic or social status, where they come from, or any disadvantage they might be suffering, every person has access to health care. Health care for dental, for vision, for medical, and for psychiatric care. Our society is abandoning people, and it has been for hundreds of years. Since the founding of this nation, we've had people who were homeless. We've had people who couldn't afford the basic means to ensure that they had quality of life that every person deserves as a human being. This isn't some radical agenda, this is just basic empathy. What makes me special is my compassion and my empathy for people who will never see me. They will never personally know me outside of the work that I'm trying to do, the policy reforms that I'm trying to make, and trying to establish solutions for problems they're affected by, which I understand because I've spent my entire life being vulnerable. I've spent my entire life being exploited by people. And it hasn't been easy. It's never easy. There's always somebody out there who's got a worse story, too. That's not the point, though. The point is that between the occupation that I had working in a world class shipping company and seeing how all those different factors interrelated to affect the next thing in the system, and the life of vulnerability that I've led, the life of suffering and difficulty, even as I appear, my life has not been at all in line with what I look like. I understand how allowing one person to suffer and be vulnerable can lead to immeasurable tragedy. You let one person live in desperation, and that person will do desperate things. That person is going to steal, lie, and cheat if they have to. As a necessity of survival, people will commit crimes as a necessity of survival because our society is not providing these people, in many cases, with what they need simply to get by. That's not to say that the rampant thefts and things that are going on are okay. What I'm implying is that if we made basic provision for people, things that they have to live without them having to work themselves to death and still not be able to pay their bills, we would have a healthier, happier, and more functional society. We wouldn't have all this violence and unrest. We wouldn't be having all these challenges. We would have a society that flourishes, where the people get along better. They're more supportive of each other. We force people to work 80, 120 hours a week at two or three jobs where at the end of the day, they don't have any time with their family and they're not able to even meet their basic costs of living. They can't save anything. All these people can do is survive. How do you have time to go to college and get an education when you're spending all of your time trying to meet your basic survival expenses? What do you do to get people to understand that at the policy level? That's the thing that I have to say. We have to change the way that we view the circumstances, and we have to establish practical solutions to extract people from these situations where they're just they're not making it. You've got somebody who's living on the street corner. Maybe they're homeless, and they're in dirty clothes. They're getting rained on. They're exposed to the weather. If we provided basic things to people, housing, food, healthcare, communications, transportation, that's just a few things. Utilities, running water, a hot shower, not just a shelter that they're in for a fixed period of time and then they get kicked out. If we provided people a basic social safety net to start over when they're affected by extreme crisis, or when they come from nothing, when they're fleeing from an abusive home, or they're coming from another country and they have no one and nothing, this in itself would fundamentally change the fabric of the society that we live in here in America. It would change how people view each other and how they view our country. People wouldn't think, well, it's just a dog-eat-dog world, and then just step on the next person or walk over the next person who's out there suffering, because that's just how it is. It's cutthroat. We're going to drive past a crash scene. We're not going to stop and try to render aid. We're not going to, help a person that we see in need, because our society at large has become so capitalist that it's just become policy to treat people with a lack of decency and a lack of humanity. The compassion that's supposed to be in our society has been drained away, and the programs that are there to help people are so overextended and underfunded because the need that's out there is extremely great and there aren't enough people that care. That's what's different about me. I care. I'm not sitting here making money by doing the videos that I do to tell people how I think things should change. I am not doing this with the objective of getting rich. I've been writing letters to try to establish reforms for a lot of different issues for the last 4 years. And on an increasing basis, I'm seeing that I am making a difference. I believe I can make a difference. I have conviction that I'm making a difference. We have to bring back compassion and empathy. We have to care about people. We have to make structural changes in the way that our society works so that people are not left impoverished with nothing and struggling simply to survive when they're fleeing from violence or abusive situations and they have nothing because they've been wiped out by some catastrophic disaster that's just swept through their life. And there's nothing. There's no hope. It's bleak. The only thing that they're left to do is, gradually work themselves into the ground, trying to spin their wheels sometimes against impossible circumstances. This is why we have places like Skid Row. In California, there's so many places, just sidewalks lined with homeless people, because people don't care the way they should. The policies are not in line with actually trying to help people and legitimately make a difference. That is what I seek to do with my videos and my writings. Most people, they've never heard of me, they've never seen me. I don't get name recognition, but I'm making a difference. If I can't get the idea out there myself, I convey it to somebody who's got the buying power and the position to do it. Because my ideas are good. They're really good. Tiny homes for families that are experiencing housing insecurity, they're chronic homeless. That's a revolutionary concept. It doesn't cost much to build a tiny home. Just put the effort in, put the time in. There's not even that much in terms of materials that are required. You have to care, and you have to want to make a change. And I can't do the things that I seek to do by myself without sponsorship. That's why I convey a lot of my ideas here through YouTube.